Boron. Let's look at the element boron. Metabolic functions. Although boron is an essential element, what it does in the plant is not clear. That sounds like a rather bizarre statement to start out a talk about an element, but what it really comes down to is, a lot of times, you can pinpoint what an element does in the plant. Boron does not appear to be essential for fungi and for most of the bacteria. This means that the use of it came along later in evolution. There is no evidence in higher plants that it's either a constituent or an activator of any enzyme. We know it is not in the enzymatic part. Boron functions in plants include sugar transport, cell wall synthesis, lignification, cell wall structure, carbohydrate metabolism, RNA metabolism, respiration, indole acetic acid metabolism, phenol metabolism, membranes, nitrogen fixation, ascorbate metabolism, and amelioration of aluminum toxicity. Whoa! It does a lot of things. Let's see how it works. All of these things that it does are based on increases that occur after application of boron to deficient plants. You apply boron to a deficient plant and you're going to get some sort of result. One of the results is going to fall into one of these categories. What it does has not been exactly pinpointed. It comes down to what I call guilt by association. You have a deficient plant, this happens, therefore it must be involved. Method of uptake. Boron absorption increases in the pH range of 5 to 9. That's getting into the more alkaline type soils. This makes it a little more difficult because a lot of plants don't really like alkaline soils. It does have an increase in absorption at those pHs. Roots uptake boron from the soil solution as undissociated boric acid. That's interesting because this is the only element that is not absorbed as an ion or is part of a compound ion. It is brought in as undissociated boric acid. It's restricted in mobility in many plant species, however, it's freely mobile in others. For a broad range of agricultural crops, it is now established that boron is phloem mobile and is transported as a complex with polyols. Sufficiency. Soil contains 2 to 200 milligrams per kilogram dry weight. That's parts per million, most of which is unavailable. Plant concentration is about 20 milligrams per kilogram dry weight. The range between sufficiency and toxicity is variable. How much is needed is one thing. How toxic it might be is another thing. This varies between plants. It becomes rather unique when we look at its deficiency. A deficiency is often found as a black necrosis of young leaves at the base of the leaf blade and the terminal buds. Stems may be stiff and brittle. You may get a loss of apical dominance. This shows you a boron deficiency. Cabbage and crucifers often have boron problems. There are other plants that have boron problems. Sometimes these problems can be limited. It means it occurs at a certain time period in growth. You may get too much growth and the boron may be available in the soil, it's just not available in the amount that the plant needs. Then as growth slows down, the plant will be able to pick up the boron that is necessary. Deficiency often looks like this. Luxury consumption is not known to occur. Toxicity. If you have too much, you get a marginal leaf necrosis, and necrosis followed by scorching, burning, or premature drop of interior foliage. This is attributed to a boron toxicity in barley. Look at that. You go, wait a second, that looks like it could be a fungal leaf spot. Yes, it does. However, this is actually toxicity due to boron. Sources of boron. Boron-containing minerals include tourmaline, which is very insoluble. Also, there are very soluble hydrated boron materials. Soluble boron consists mainly of boric acid. This is unlike most essential plant nutrients, which are present in soil solution in ionized form. In soils of arid and some semi-arid regions, boron may accumulate to toxic concentrations in the upper soil layer. This is due to lack of drainage. When you look at the migration of people into the California area, there was always a need for boron. They would go into the desert areas where boron had accumulated in the upper soil layer. they would harvest the boron. They would bring the boron to areas of population where the boron could be used. Boron is a unique sort of material. Artificial application. Soil constituents capable of absorbing boron, aluminum, and iron oxides are clay minerals, calcium carbonate, and organic matter. Notice it says absorbed, which means it is not becoming ionic. They do not adsorb it, it becomes attracted to the particle. Artificial application of boron. We often apply boric acid, which is commercially available. You apply it to the soil. Then the boric acid can be picked up by the plant. Here are a couple of references that we used for this. There's a lot of information about boron and things that you might want to look at. This is just for your information.